We begin the presentation of degrees by awarding an honorary doctorate. At this college, we make such awards with great pride to those whose lives have personified the convictions, the ambitions, the values, and the accomplishments we honor at Whittier. Today, we are delighted to confer this high honor on an inspiring individual. Would Associate Professor of Business Administration, Lana Nino, please escort the Honorable Maria Contreras-Sweet to the podium and present her for this award.
Good morning. It is my honor to congratulate the students, the parents, especially the parents, but it's also my honor to introduce our keynote speaker today, Maria Contreras-Sweet. Maria, at 5 years of age, you immigrated to the United States from Mexico with 5 other siblings. Your mother at the time worked hard at a poultry processing plant to provide for your family. You've reported that you felt awkward and shameful as you learned English in first grade and feared that people thought you were incompetent. I must say, you've certainly proven them wrong. Recognizing what a smart, driven, accomplished person you are, 2 years ago this spring, President Obama asked you to serve your country as a member of his administration. As the 24th leader of the U.S. Small Business Administration, you are charged with supporting America's 28 million small businesses. These businesses create jobs and employ half of our nation's private sector. Since then, you've earned international acclaim for the efficiencies and modernization you've brought to the SBA. You yourself have started 3 successful businesses, including a community bank in downtown Los Angeles focused on small and mid-sized businesses. In fact, Pro-America is the first Latino-formed commercial bank in California in over 35 years. Your skills as a manager, negotiator, and leader were honed as Vice President of Public Affairs for Westinghouse, a multinational company. Of course, you did not begin your climb on the ladder of success at the top. In fact, your first job in public service was as a secretary at the California State Assembly's office. But already by the age of 24, your potential was recognized, and you became a district manager for the U.S. Census Bureau. In 1999, California Governor Gray Davis appointed you as a cabinet secretary for the Business, Transportation, and Housing Agency, where you oversaw 44,000 employees and a $14 million budget. What most impresses us at Whittier College is that you've always worked to bring others up with you as you've climbed to new heights. You are the founding president of an organization that provides political education to Hispanic women so that they can improve on their communities for the betterment of all. The organization is called Hispanas Organized for Political Equality. Yes, that is hope. And during your time in Los Angeles, you've been a friend of Whittier College, even speaking to and encouraging our students with your story. You once told a journalist that you entered public service because when you were young, there were no role models who looked like you, and you wanted to build young people's confidence and ambition through your example. Indeed, as someone who came to America with no economic advantage and learned not just to navigate through the system, but to achieve great success as an entrepreneur, business leader, civil servant, and now as a member of the United States Cabinet, Maria, you inspire us. For these reasons, Madam President, it is with great honor that I present the Honorable Maria Contreras-Sweet for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So you ready to hood? Okay. Maria Contreras-Sweet, Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Whittier College Board of Trustees and the State of California, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations.
All right. How's everybody doing so far? Are you all awake, class of 2016? All right. All right. I want to first and foremost thank all of you for the gracious invitation to be with you here today. You pulled me out of Washington, D.C. and brought me back home. Thank you so much. Thank you. What a joy it is to be with you at this very moment. How many of you know, however, what the President's Cabinet actually does? Nothing, he says. Let me just say, any of you ever watch Madam Secretary, Veep, House of Cards? All right, now I know who's got the rating points. All right, very good. Well, it's not quite like that. But anyway, it is truly a remarkable journey from here, living in Whittier, to now walking the halls of Washington, D.C. and traveling around the world, representing the greatest force on earth, the United States of America. I have the best job at Cabinet. I sit next to the Cabinet Secretary over Defense, Secretary of State, Secretary of Education, Agriculture, Interior, Commerce, but I provide the voice for the small business, those who create in today's times 2 out of 3 net new jobs, employ half of the workforce, and have built a momentum of 74 months of consecutive job growth that has never happened in the history of our country. Thank you to the entrepreneurs, the small businesses. It is truly a privilege today to become an honorary poet from the very distinguished Whittier College. I will wear my purple and my gold ever so proudly. To President Hertzberger, Professor Nino, all the faculty here with me, the staff, the platform party, the honored guests, family and friends, and you are graduates of 2016 who are ready to launch. Today is it, an end and a beginning. Today you say goodbye to late night breakfast, to Spring Sing, to K-Poet, and to The Rock. Today you step off the precipice and into your futures. It's exhilarating, terrifying, bittersweet, all at once. I know the hard work you have put in. The wait has been long, the path uncertain at times, but on this beautiful day, a little warm. You're just a few speeches away and a short walk from holding your degree. Congratulations, felicidades, gongshidi. Maybe I didn't do that last one so well. Okay. I know how hard you've worked, how much you sacrificed to reach this day, when it felt like the earth was moving under your feet and the pressures were just incredible and too much to endure. You steadied yourself and found a way to keep going. But let's remember, you didn't do it alone. While today is about your achievement and the realization of your dreams, it's also about the fulfillment of your family's dreams for you. This is their day too. Graduates, please stand up and give your family, friends who are here to support you a big round of applause. Yes. That's right. All right. There you go. Today I stand before you not only as a former community banker here in your community, as a businesswoman and entrepreneur, the President's voice on entrepreneurship, but as a fellow Californian. One thing is for sure, you can't possibly know what life will throw at you the next day. But despite this, what you now know is that the wind is at your back. Well, right now it's a little coming at us too. But there are three things that you can't count on. First and foremost, the love of family and friends. They helped you get here today, and they will continue to propel you forward, particularly in these moments when you feel like the only direction you're moving in is backwards. Second, you can count on yourself. What makes you special? What distinguishes you from others? In business, we call it your unique value proposition. Figuring out yours is key. Do a self-assessment and understand what those strengths are about you, how you do distinguish yourself. In Business 101, we call it the SWOT analysis. No, we won't do a test on this. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. In my view, strengths and weaknesses are about you. Opportunities and threats are about the world out there and what you make of it. You don't have to be going into business to make a business plan, so take this opportunity to plot a long-term strategy, allowing for a little bit of flexibility. You know, as the old saying goes, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So start where you hope to end up and build it backwards. There's no time, and especially this time is not the time, to set modest goals. The degree you receive today will open doors, many doors, from this prestigious university. But you have the courage, you must have the courage, to turn the key and walk through that door. The third thing you can count on is this place, the United States of America, Los Angeles, California, the place that you have called home, where you were nurtured and supported, where you learned and prepared to grow. You're living in the epicenter, the absolute epicenter of the 21st century economy. California is the bellwether state. This is where trends begin. They flow over to Massachusetts, New York, eventually ripple through the rest of the country and the world. You are the very essence of what a harbinger represents. You are the ones that are setting the trends. Around the world, people ask me about people in Southern California. They ask me about you. They want to know you. Here at Whittier, you've been steeped in something very, very important. You've been in a plurality of cultures, of backgrounds, of perspectives. People who are black and white, people who are red and yellow, red and green. In California, we always count our environmentalists. You've been grounded in a fundamental belief that every individual has unique gifts to develop and to share. Think about the myriad of colors around us, the messages, the movements that emanated from the rock. A painted dove to represent peace for victims of violence in the Palestine area. A painted message, "We love you, little miss," to remember Margot Latif. A painted ribbon and the words, "You are not alone," to raise awareness about sexual assault. Here in Los Angeles, you live among people that come from 180 different countries who speak 140 different languages. LA truly is the hub of the Pacific Rim. California today represents the 8th largest economy. Our state far outranks the rest of the country in venture capital investment. We rank in the top 5 for entrepreneurial activity in the nation. We are strivers. Here you are part of that heritage, a part of the grit that makes this area so strong, because you have perseverance and determination. Each of you is at an advantage because you come from a college and a region where minorities are actually the majority. Those of us who come from other countries, speak other languages, or practice other faiths and religions, or those of us who aren't as tall as we wish we are, whatever our difference is, we know that what makes us part of a community of difference is actually something that is deemed a strength, not a weakness. Let me just say that when I first got here from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, I couldn't speak a word of English, and I remember struggling. I remember my school teacher yanking my ear, and I wrote to my grandmother and I said, "Abuelita, I don't think I belong here. I don't understand anything." And she said, "Stay with it. Bring others along." The power of generosity. Finally, in 3rd grade, I wrote to her, "I'm learning English and I've just become the 3rd grade milk monitor." And she said, second lesson, "It's not the titles you have, it's what you do with the titles you have that matters." That was an important lesson from my beautiful abuelita. I know you all have a grandmother just like mine. And so I learned the power of language, that although at my first big job, starting at 7-Up RC Bottling Company, I, just like in 3rd grade when I learned the language and then I became in charge of the milk, I learned the importance of learning the language of business, of finance, of knowing my numbers, putting numbers up on the board every week that allowed me to grow and become an officer of the company and eventually an equity partner. Next lesson that she taught me then was the power, as I said, of language. Later on, when I left that, I decided to hang my shield and start my own company. And along the way, I saw that there were so many small businesses that weren't getting business, that weren't growing. And so right after I started my business, the governor asked me to be the secretary for the state of California in charge of transportation. Can you imagine how cool that was to be over the highway patrol? That was cool. But moving forward, what I learned was that small businesses couldn't get access to capital to be able to get some of the contracts that I was putting out as Secretary of Transportation. And so I said to them, "How can I help you get some of the work that we put out? We're putting out billions of dollars of work." And they said, "We can't get access to capital." So I did what every woman seeks to do when she sees a problem and she wants to solve it. I did it myself. I started a community bank to help provide access to capital to small businesses. The first Latina-owned bank in California in 2 generations. But the power in that was the next lesson that I learned, the power of a network. I called on 25 girlfriends who helped me build that bank and raise the capital. So having a powerful network really came into play, so that would be my next important tip for you. The next thing I learned is I was asked to serve on a corporate board, breaking the glass ceiling. And I served on that board, and I was proud that now I was on a corporate board of directors. But what I remembered was the next lesson that my grandmother said, right? Bring others along. And so I said, what can I do here at Blue Cross? And working with the management and my colleagues on the board of directors, we founded a brand new foundation, a philanthropic organization, endowed it with $3 billion and helped to improve the health status of Californians. And today that organization remains strong and is changing the lives for so many who don't have access to quality, affordable health care. I'm proud of that work. And finally, again, as you can see, I was called by the president who said, "You're providing counseling, capital, and contracting opportunities for small businesses. That's what SBA does. That's what we want you to do for our country." So the lesson that I've taught myself is the global nature of our economy. Do not just think about what's available in the next door or in the next community. Your opportunities as young people today, graduates of today, is that your marketplace is borderless. It is borderless. You can connect and use the wind to your back. Use the absolute wind to your back to connect with people from the Western Hemisphere, from the Latin American countries. In the last month, I had an opportunity to travel to Colombia, to Medellin, to meet people there. Recently, I traveled to El Salvador. 2 weeks ago, I was in Argentina. A week before that, I was in Cuba. I traveled with the president to the historic visit to Cuba, and what I can tell you is they all want to meet you and do business with you. 95% of the world's consumers are outside of the United States. Imagine if you only do business in this country, you've only got 5% of the marketplace. So challenge yourselves to reach out to broad, bold markets. And finally, what I learned, my last lesson was that I matter, that my voice matters and so does yours. Wherever you go, speak with confidence because you are from the rock. When you speak, have pride, dignity, and confidence in what you can contribute. Your difference is an asset of value add. Corporations, CEOs, nonprofits, NGOs, countries are seeking people who speak other languages, who have an understanding and cultural competencies of others around the world to help them reach those markets. So seize that opportunity, use that wind, and fly with it. Soar, soar, soar. And I'll tell you why I'm so passionate, as you just heard. In writing to my grandmother, after I was settled in, she said, "Keep at it, Mariquita Maria," because I believe that although our family has had a history of being migrant workers, I have seen your mother, my mother, work in a poultry processing plant. To work hard, I saw her legs stiffen and her fingers thicken. But she said, "I believe this country provides mobility." And so my grandmother said, "Although we have been migrant workers, I believe that someday you'll be able to work in an office and to be a secretary." Her prayers were answered, and I'm now holding office and a cabinet secretary. These are the opportunities that only California can harvest with such bounty. And I believe, as it is for me, that those are the opportunities that present themselves to you. So go out with the few little lessons I've shared and all that you have learned from your family, friends, and from the poet. Go out and conquer the world. I want to leave you with two of my favorite quotes. One is from Steve Jobs, who said, "Your time is limited. Don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition." My other favorite quote is Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, "What good is it? What good is it to be able to sit at an integrated counter if you can't afford to buy the hamburger?" He understood that as we fought for civil rights, civil engagement with civil society, that we had to advance economic and market rights, social mobility, deepen our democracy, and expand our middle class. So if Dr. Martin Luther King were here today, I would say, let's not go back to buy the hamburger. Let's build institutions that are our own. Let's go back and buy that restaurant. Let's build ownership and make America great. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you today. God bless you and God bless the United States of America. Miles de gracias. Saludos.